In recent months, a trend has begun to take shape in the technology industry that not long ago sounded like pure science fiction, but today is gradually acquiring real outlines and is being discussed not only within companies, but also at the level of the largest analytical centers. We are talking about a strategic decision which, according to a number of insiders and publications such as Bloomberg and Reuters, could become one of the most ambitious steps in the history of artificial intelligence development. The company xAI, together with Tesla, is allegedly considering the possibility of creating a separate physical body for the artificial intelligence Grok, and it is important to emphasize that this is not just about a classic humanoid robot, but about a new category of devices that could completely change the understanding of interaction between humans and machines. If earlier artificial intelligence existed exclusively in digital space, in the form of chatbots, assistants, and algorithms, now the industry is gradually approaching the next logical stage, the physical embodiment of AI. And this is where the key idea emerges, which, according to analysts, could become a turning point. Grok is already integrated into Musk's ecosystem of products, including the X platform, various software solutions, and potentially future interfaces for interacting with technology. However, AI itself, no matter how powerful it is, remains limited by the screen of a device. And it is precisely this limitation, according to insiders, that Musk intends to eliminate. At first glance, it may seem that this task is already being solved by Tesla Optimus, the humanoid robot that Tesla is actively developing. And indeed, Optimus already demonstrates the ability to perform physical tasks, from industrial work to assistance in everyday life. However, sources claim that within the company, a deeper and possibly more radical concept is being considered. It is not just about integrating Grok into an existing robot body, but about creating a separate line of devices that are originally designed for a specific neural network as its physical continuation. This is a fundamentally different approach. In the current industry, robots are created as universal platforms that can work with different algorithms. But in this case, a scenario is being discussed in which artificial intelligence itself becomes the center of the entire architecture, and the body is created around it as a tool for realizing its capabilities. In essence, this can be compared to how the human body is an extension of the brain, only in this case, we are talking about a digital intelligence that gains the ability to directly interact with the physical world. Some analysts are already calling this the possible birth of a new category of devices, AI-native hardware, meaning devices originally created for artificial intelligence. And if this concept is actually implemented, Grok could become the first AI in the industry to receive its own physical body, designed specifically for its architecture and operating principles. Neither ChatGPT nor Gemini currently have projects of this level of integration. Interestingly, according to some insiders, Tesla is discussing the idea of creating a variation of a robot based on Optimus, but with a different design, different proportions, and possibly even a different way of interacting with the surrounding environment. It could be a less humanoid form, or, on the contrary, one more adapted for social interaction. There are many options, but the key idea remains unchanged: to create a physical embodiment specifically for Grok, not a universal robot. That is why more and more often in expert circles there is the idea that Musk is essentially trying to merge his two key development directions, artificial intelligence and robotics, into a single product. And if earlier this looked like parallel projects, now it becomes obvious that they are gradually converging at one point. This point is the creation of a full-fledged artificial entity that not only processes information, but acts in the real world. Special attention should also be paid to the speed of development of Grok itself. According to analysts, next-generation AI systems are already demonstrating growth rates that significantly exceed even the most optimistic forecasts. Some experts believe that in the coming years, such systems will be able to compete with humans in most intellectual tasks, and in some areas, fully surpass them. And in this context, the idea of giving such an AI a physical body looks not just logical, but inevitable. Within the industry, this causes both admiration and serious concerns. On the one hand, this represents a colossal technological breakthrough that could lead to the automation of virtually all areas of life. On the other hand, questions arise about control, safety, and the boundaries of application of such systems. Because if AI gains the ability to act in the physical world, the consequences of its decisions become far more significant. Nevertheless, Musk is known for betting precisely on such breakthrough and risky directions. His approach is not gradual evolution of technologies, but sharp leaps that change the rules of the game. That is why he is often called a person who looks into the future not for years, but for decades ahead. And if we believe current leaks and insider information, the project of a physical body for Grok could become one of the clearest examples of such an approach. If this concept is brought to a real product, we may witness a moment that will go down in the history of technology as the beginning of a new era. An era in which artificial intelligence ceases to be just software and becomes a full-fledged participant of the physical world. And in this reality, the question is no longer whether such a robot will appear, but when exactly it will happen and how quickly it will become part of our everyday life. And it is at this stage that another, no less important layer of this entire story begins to form, which sources close to the industry are talking about more and more often. It is not just about creating a body for artificial intelligence, but about forming a new logic of interaction between humans and machines, where the boundaries between digital and physical are gradually erased. According to analysts from Bloomberg, within Musk's company's scenarios are being discussed in which such devices will not only execute commands, but also act proactively, anticipating user needs based on accumulated data and continuous learning. This means that Grok in a physical body could become not just a tool, but a full-fledged assistant that accompanies a person in everyday life and participates in decision-making. Moreover, some insiders claim that the long-term goal of such projects goes far beyond everyday tasks or industrial automation. Within Tesla and xAI, scenarios are being considered in which such systems become part of a broader ecosystem that includes transport, energy, and even digital infrastructure. In this model, Grok, having received a physical embodiment, can interact with cars, control devices in the home, coordinate processes in production, and at the same time remain connected to a cloud-based intelligent system. This is no longer just a robot, but a node of a global network in which intelligence is distributed, yet capable of acting locally. And if we look at this from a broader perspective, it becomes clear why such projects generate both intense interest and tension in the industry. Because this is not about another gadget or device, but about the potential emergence of a new type of entities that will exist alongside humans, interact with them, and possibly at some point begin to compete with them in a number of tasks. And this is precisely the main question of the coming years: whether humanity will be able not only to create such technology, but also to learn how to live alongside it while maintaining control and understanding of where this process is heading.